Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight for KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where we give you more news in less time. I'm Cody Prompter. Mark has the night off. Let's get started. We're tracking a developing story tonight near Airway Heights, where a crash sent 2 adults and 1 child to the hospital. One of them is in critical condition tonight. Firefighters say the car crashed into a power pole. KREM 2's Kyle Simchuk brings us the latest at the scene.
This car was so damaged that firefighters had to extract the 3 people inside. Spokane Fire Chief Brian Schaefer says the vehicle was traveling on Craig Road around 5 p.m. this evening when the driver lost control and crashed into a power pole. A person familiar with this road told me if the car was going too fast, there's a chance it could have gone airborne as it went over the hump in the road where the railroad tracks are. Spokane City and County fire crews, as well as sheriff's deputies and Airway Heights police, all responded to the scene, and so did crews with a Vista. The car's impact split the power pole. The top half was suspended by wires as crews went in to rescue the 3 people inside. South Craig Road and West McFarland Road were both blocked, and a Vista crews had to wait until the car was towed away before they could work to repair the lines. The Spokane County Sheriff's Office is now investigating this crash, and deputies have not said whether they believe drugs or alcohol played a role. Reporting near Airway Heights tonight, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
Well, thank you all for coming out today in the name of justice, in the name of unity, and in the name of peace today. Give yourselves a hand.
A day dedicated to the life and legacy of civil rights icon Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It took 15 years to make this day a federal holiday after persistent work from lawmakers and civil rights activists. In downtown Spokane, after a 2-year hiatus, thousands of people shut down streets for the annual MLK Day March.
What Dr. King stood for is something that I want to implement into not only my life, but my children's lives, and to be able to be there, hear the speech, absorb the words, how powerful they are. It brought tears to my eyes to be able to stand there and walk with my son and hoping that he's absorbing the same words.
Following the march, attendees returned back to the Spokane Convention Center, where they were able to continue to fellowship and connect at the Resource Fair. And it wasn't just Spokane celebrating the holiday. MLK celebrations took place all across the country today. In Washington, D.C., the King Memorial Foundation celebrated with a wreath laying at the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial in our nation's capital. The city of Houston held its MLK parade filled with floats, marching bands, and dancers. Meanwhile, the 38th annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Parade wound its way through central Denver this morning. You can see it right there on your screen. Denver's parade is a march and a parade. It's both a celebration of successes and recognition of all the work that still needs to be done to advance civil rights and racial equity in Colorado and around the country. And we have much more on the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr. streaming right now on KREM 2+. You can watch the special, Remembering Martin Luther King Jr. The Legacy Lives On, anytime on demand. We also have a special interview with King's daughter, Dr. Bernice King, on how to keep her father's dream alive. KREM 2+ is available right now on Roku and Amazon Fire. And if you would like more information, text KREM 2 to 509-448-2000, and we'll text you back with more details. In Olympia today, a new proposal looks to lower the blood alcohol limit in the Evergreen state. Senator John Lovick's new bill calls for lowering the legal limit from the current 0.08 BAC to 0.05. Well, it turns out more than 700 people died on Washington roads last year, and more than half of all fatalities are DUI related. Senator Lovick, a former state trooper, says this proposal is a way to save lives.
I'm not saying this to be dramatic. I still have nightmares because of some of the things that I witnessed. You know, going to a fatal collision where a number of kids were killed. All of these things were preventable. A drunk driver makes the choice, and it's a bad choice, and they make the decision. You don't have to drink and drive. It's pretty simple.
If approved, Washington state would become only the 2nd state in the nation to have such a low limit. Also in Olympia, a group of high school girls joined state lawmakers today for a hearing on a gender pricing bill. It comes after some students in an AP Civics class at Lake Washington High School found several products and services were more expensive for women than for men. Also, check this out. Up for vote in the new legislative session, the State Government and Tribal Relations Committee wrote a new bill trying to design the Sushisaurus Rex as the official dinosaur of the state of Washington, roaming the earth over 80 million years ago. And it's actually a cousin to the well-known T-Rex. The Sushisaurus is the first dinosaur fossil ever found in Washington state, which is incredible. The bill was originally proposed back in 2020 and could go into effect within 90 days. Well, it might not be dinosaurs, but let's switch over to checking with our forecast. A cloudy day to kick off the week. We've got Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo in the Weather Center tonight with the latest on what's to come.
Actually, if you compare things that kids get equally excited about, clouds and dinosaurs. I think I'm selling clouds a little bit hard right there. They're pretty cool though. Right now, temperatures sit above freezing, 35 degrees here in Spokane. But do expect those temps to drop, and where it's dropping, we're already getting some dense fog. Western Montana taking over. Omak visibility down to a half mile. Wenatchee, quarter of a mile. Near zero visibility in Ellensburg and Moses Lake. Similar story in Lookout Pass. Deer Park, half mile, and temperatures dropping. We're in the mid to low 30s right now. Wenatchee already down to 30, so it's freezing fog there, and temperatures will continue to drop. We're going to watch them fall back into the 20s or low 30s just about everywhere, and that means slick roads are likely a big contender tomorrow morning. Tomorrow looks pretty dry. We're going to get rid of some of these showers over Lookout Pass, and by tomorrow we dry out across the region before our next round of moisture moves in Wednesday, and that could be some decent showers. I'll walk you through the forecast coming up.
Jeremy, thank you so much. Let's go right now to Night Beat with a quick look at the day's top stories. A huge jump in unintentional 911 calls this past week in Bonner County that came from an unusual source. Get this, it turns out some smartwatches are programmed with a fall detection feature which calls 911 if you fall down. The Bonner County Sheriff's Office says their dispatch got 30% more calls last week from people up at Schweitzer Mountain. They treat each call as a real emergency until they know it's a misdial, which takes time and resources. They're asking people to disable the feature while skiing or snowboarding so they can focus the patrol deputies where they need to be. Lakeland joins school districts considering adding vape detectors to their schools. Placed in school bathrooms, the alarm would send an electronic alert to staff in the front office when it detects chemicals from vaping in the air. Our news partners at the Coeur d'Alene Press say the district could take advantage of a free 3-month trial of 2 alarms. Lakeland would not be the first district in the region to install alarms like this one. Spokane Public Schools actually approved putting vape sensors in their school bathrooms back in August. And a member of the Colville Tribes Council passed away Friday. Virgil Smoker Marchand served on the Colville Business Council representing Omak. Marchand was also an artist specializing in steel sculptures, including a steel Sasquatch statue atop of Dissatel Pass. Marchand's being remembered as a strong voice for his people who brought a unique perspective to tribal government. And that was your Night Beat. To learn more about any of these stories, text the word NIGHT to 509-448-2000. We'll send them right to your phone.